A new day has come. A new day has come. I was waiting so long for a miracle to come. Everyone told me to be strong. Hold on and don't shed a tear. Through the darkness and good times, I knew I'd make it through. And the world thought I had it all, but I was waiting for you. Hush, now I see a light in the sky. Oh, it's almost blinding me. I can't believe I've been touched by an angel with love. As Sunset and the others sat in the auditorium, they wondered what exactly was going to happen at today's welcome assembly. Fluttershy had been completely stiff-lipped on what was going to happen. I mean, it's somewhat interesting to say the least. And now, the assembly was going on, with the faculty seated at the forefront and students all in the bleachers. Everyone wondered what exactly was about to happen. And as for me, I know sometimes when I do these log reviews, I have this tendency to pop up into these stories and give you my thoughts, but considering how epic and important this story is, I'm just going to let the rest of these scenes play out, and we'll have a good old-fashioned talk about this later. Hope you guys enjoy! One thing was for sure, given that Discord was still here and likely involved him, Sunset mused. He changed from his earlier work clothing to a more conservative black polo and jeans, and been partly popping through various classes throughout the school, acting half as his Discord persona and the other half a genuinely involved father, asking about Fluttershy's classes. He had gone so far as to sit in her AP English class, a class that Sunset was taking with Fluttershy. It was interesting because Miss Cheerily, seated before the Discord, would discuss several romantic poets and lyricists, and the gazing hour that made the students genuinely wish he could continue as the class bell rang. And now they were all here, listening to the announcement of Miss Celestia's eventual departure as principal of Canterlot High. Even though she would still be around for this one last year, Linda was introduced as the new principal. Some man named Mr. Naysay was now the vice principal. For some reason, Sunset got a genuinely bad feeling about him, but she had to give him a chance. After all, that's what her life was about now. Also, anyone see Fluttershy? Rarity whispered. No, not really, Sunset replied, wondering if they were now about to find out what their friend had in mind. After all, Discord still had not moved a muscle, even though he had his guitar with him. Finally, Linda had finished up with her when she was starting her first year as principal at Canterlot High, and looked at all the students. Now, she told them, normally I would dismiss you back to class, but this year we're going to do something a little different. We have a special performance for you, a little musical number. She turned to look at Discord. Well, if you would. He walked up to the microphone. Well, thank you, Miss Luna. It's an honor to be here, really. I know you're all expecting me to be Discord, he said, spreading his arms out to gesture the magnanimity of his presence. Well, really, I'm here today as a parent. Many of you had your parents come to school to see how things are, and frankly, as a father, I haven't had that much of a chance. So no, I'm not here as a rock star, but as a concerned dad. And besides, I'm an old man now, he said with a grin. Rock and roll is a youngster's game, so I'd best let the next generation take on, shouldn't I? He then snapped his fingers. The lights where he dimmed was on cue, while a second spotlight lit up the stage, and there, sitting on a stool with an acoustic guitar in hand, looking at them all, was Fluttershy. What? Des gasped, wondering why the shy girl they possibly know was on the stage. Apparently she wasn't the only one wondering, because the sudden silence of possibly the timidest girl in school, being on stage before the entire student body, probably would have frightened her like a rabbit. She looked at them all and gave a sweet smile and started to play, letting her voice carry. People I know, places I go, make me feel tongue-tied. I can see how people look down, they're on the inside. Here's where the story ends. People I see, weary of me, showing my good side. I can see how People look down, I'm on the outside. Here's where the story ends. Oh, here's where the story ends. The entire group present sat, mesmerized at the sound of her voice, as if she had been a siren singing on the rocks of sailors of old. Already know she had musical talent, but unlike her unexpected performance at San Fran, here she was now, giving her first official performance on her own, signaling a future, a direction that had all been unthinkable a year before. It's that little souvenir of a terrible year, which makes my ears feel sore. Oh, I never should have said that the books you read were all I loved you for. It's that little souvenir of a terrible year, which makes me wonder why. And it's the memories of the shed which makes me turn red. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Wow! Piggy said a little starstruck. She's really good. Yeah, well, he knew she could play, but wow, I'm impressed. Elsa admitted, proud smile for her friend plastered on her face. Well, ladies, I do believe we have more than one celebrity in our midst, Rarity said with a grin. Meanwhile, unaware of her friend's compliments and lost her in music, Fluttershy continued to play on. Crazy, I know, places I go make me feel so tired. I can see how people look down, I'm on the outside. Here's where the story ends. Oh, here's where the story ends. It's that little souvenir of a terrible year which makes my ears feel sore. And whoever would have thought the books you brought were all I loved you for? All the doll in me said, go down to the shed, I know where I belong. But the only real thing I ever wanted to say was wrong, was wrong, was wrong. It's that little souvenir of a colorful year which makes me smile inside. So I cynically say the world is that way. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Here's where the story ends. Oh, here's where the story ends. As he stopped playing, she looked up and bowed before the audience, was erupted in applause. Lyra, in particular, made a mental note to talk to Fluttershy about maybe playing together. And Noteworthy made a mental note to see if Fluttershy needed better strings for her guitar, though given who her father was, that probably wasn't necessary. Flash, former band members, looked on with a mixture of surprise and envy, as the one girl that had shown zero proclivities for music does outclass them completely and utterly. She then looked at the audience, brushed her hair out of her eyes, and said into the mic, "The next number is something I think the folks in music class will appreciate." She gave the crowd a soft smile, as her father walked on stage briefly, taking his daughter's acoustic controller and swapping it with her own electric guitar. A soft pink 60s jazz master liqueur. As he departed the stage, she launched into the solo electric guitar rendition of Bolero, the famous classical song by Conservatoire, and a song never intended for the guitar. In the middle of the song, she did segue to Boré, another song difficult to play on electric guitar. She then moved on to El Gato Maltese by Pascapel, a song that, due to its particular pacing, was one of the hardest songs to play on a stringed instrument. Then Fluttershy let herself flow into her guitar, the dulcet tones moving from the strings to the amplifier and to the ears of the transcendental assembly. Finally, she moved on to the last part of the song, La Passionata, a more modern ballad reflected, but no less technically difficult try to play on the guitar. You know, Applejack whispered to the others, I remember when Fluttershy admitted she could play guitar, but I didn't know all this she was this good. Yeah, she's been holding out on us, Pinky said with a grin, leaning up against Sunset sighing contently. Romantic music, my favorite. Sunset said nothing, not wanting to make a scene at the moment while one of her closest friends was on stage. giving her debut performance quite literally mesmerizing everyone who was watching it. "She's incredible," Rarity said, a proud smile on her face. "Yep," was all Rainbow could say. Finally, as the song wound down and people clapped all the more, she waited until the audience quieted down, and Discord came back on stage, killed the mic, and whispered something in her ear. A barely audible "Are you sure?" escaped her lips, and he nodded. She reached over and gave him a kiss on the cheek, and turned the mic on. There's a song I've been working on that isn't completely finished, but if you don't mind, I'd like to play it," she blessed. "Please bear with us. It's the first time it's being performed in public." "Us?" Sunset wondered. A second later, the answer came as the rest of Discord's band appeared on stage, as cheers and shouts of joy rang out. The band members, all of which were dressed surprisingly as conservative as he was now, carried with them simpler traveling gear. Screwloose had a small set of electric drums, while Freebase carried an ultralight portabass, an instrument that was practically only the neck extended down to the body. Screwball hefted a Traveler LDT EC1, and to everyone's surprise, Discord brought out a laptop, set up for sampling performance. Looking at the audience, as if speaking to each individually, Fluttershy began to croon. "You said I lay down easy, trust in what you said, lead you right into me. You know that I was ready, begin at the beginning, before you broke my heart. I can't believe we finished something that we didn't start. I can't believe it's over. See for yourself. I can't believe it's over. There's nothing there. See for yourself. See for yourself. There's nothing there. See for yourself. See for yourself. Look at all the damage that we didn't heal. Love's an empty language if you'll never feel. I try to make it better every single turn. Such a simple lesson, guess we'll never learn." When it was over, there was no other way to describe it other than it was the auditorium became a stellar nursery, witness to a new star being born. The audience listened, rapt, as Discord and his band actually overshadowed by the musical talents of his own daughter. As she ended and bowed, the room broke into a standing ovation, and it took Luna coming out with a bullhorn to call for order. "We'd like to take the time to thank Discord and his band for giving us a beginning to the school year. I don't think anyone here will forget any time soon," Luna said to the others. Given that the school day is ending, well, we'll just have to leave it here and let you have your chance to talk to the band and ask questions. Until then, students, see you tomorrow. Sunset and the others remained on the bleachers, letting the others warm over Discord's band of Fluttershy, pressing out for questions, autographs, and the like. No doubt, by the end of the day, Sunset wouldn't be the only one in her circle of frequent requests for dates, or similar. Either way, it was clear that Fluttershy's star was ascendant, and that likely in the near future, Discord wouldn't be the only member of his family on the Billboard charts. And meanwhile, hush, now I see a light in the sky. Oh, it's almost blinded me. I can't believe I've been touched by an angel with love. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the walls for a new sun. A new day has come. A new day has come. Where it was dark, there was now light. Where there was pain, there's now joy. Where there's weakness, I found my strength. All in the eyes of a boy. So, what did you think of your first day of school, girls? Twilight asked as she and her cousin met outside the courtyard fountain. That was amazing, Twilight. Adasia said, holding her backpack over her shoulder. Those idiots in the student government thought they were going to pull one over you, but you slammed it right back in their faces. I'm proud of you. Maisie, nothing, Arya added. I don't think even the greatest of orators could have done so well on the fly. I'm totally impressed you pulled it off like it was nothing. So now, Sly, I knew Twilight could do it, right, Tavi? Better than I could have, Octavia admitted, leaning on Sonata's shoulder. Well, then again, that's to be expected from Twilight Sparkle. Superlative student and diva extraordinaire, am I right? Twilight blushed. Thanks, girls. She pulled out her phone. So Coco, Cackle, and Ribby are supposed to meet us here, right? Arya nodded, but commented, Yeah, but you will have to pull Coco and Crackle aside when we get the chance. I'm not sure it's wise to introduce Ribby to the other girls just yet. Ease her in a bit, especially given how gun-shy she is. And between Apple Blue, Sleepbell, Skulu, they may overwhelm her. Already taken care of, Twilight pointed out. Theo and I explained everything to Coco as we caught her in the hall after the break. Yeah, I'm sure not having 6 potential CNCs together in the same place would be a good idea. The plum-haired scholar giggled. I guess we'll just have to live with the space-time continuum remaining intact for now. Wow, is it weird we actually have to think about things like that for realsies now? Sonata groaned. Twilight! Coco ran up and grabbed Twilight, practically rubbing against her like a cat. Oh look, your pet found you, Adasia crackled. Hey Coco, you 3 ready to go? Coco nodded. A few seconds later, Crackle approached. Behind her, trying not to look as though she was terrified out of her wits, was Raspberry. Okay, it's going to be a tight squeeze in my van, Octavia admitted, but we can all fit in there. It's okay, you can leave me behind. I'm not worth... Ribby, you're a friend, Crackle told her. We don't leave friends behind. Really? Raspberry asked, as if it were the most amazing thing she ever heard. Do you think that Theo would leave you behind? Adasia asked her. No, but she's family, came the response. She has to put up with me. That's true, and you know it. Twilight pulled the girl gently. She loves you. She says you're like her little sister. And trust me, being a little sister myself, big sisters are always there for you. Yeah, Coco told her. Her big sister's my cousin, and Sunny is the greatest. Coco looked up at Twilight. Is I gonna be there today? I don't think so. I don't think she has to work today. Twilight says he got into the van. Sure enough, even for a minivan with plenty of seating, it was a tight squeeze for 8 girls. As they took off, Adasia made a few comments how, seated on her lap, Coco was like the newest plushie in the eldest girl's privilege collection. Coco blushed furiously, but took it all in stride. After all, the first day of school was over, and tomorrow was just another day. Hush, now I see the light of the sky. Oh, it's almost blinding me. I can't believe I've been touched by an angel of love. Let the rain come down and wash away my fears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the walls for a new sun. A new day has come. A new day has come. Fluttershy slept in the seat of the limo, looking drained. I don't know about you all, but I'm exhausted, she admitted. I'll be glad when we go back to somewhat a normal schedule again. I have a feeling this is a new normal for us Flyers, Sunset told her. So, how many? Lots, the Chiffon Beauty admitted. Especially since my social profile's changed slightly. I just hope it dies down soon. I'm still not entirely comfortable with this much attention. Well, I am for one proud of you, Rarity told her. You handled that much better than the time I had you model for me. Well, I guess we go back to Flyers All Place to get our cars in. Hey, you want to go meet us at the cafe afterwards? We can have a yay! We survived the first day of school and hot party. He insisted. Plus, I already texted Twilight, Tavi, and the others, and they'll be there too. Oh, that's good. Don't want to leave them out, Applejack insisted. Yeah, too bad our little sisters had something already planned. Given they're friends with Coco and Crackle, you'd think they want to hang out with them and whatnot, right? Rainbow asked. Apparently, there's a new girl they all made friends with, Rarity explained. And she swear, apologize for this idea, but apparently she seems to be even more timid than you used to be. No offense taken. I know I used to be pretty bad, Fluttershy admitted. But thanks to all of you, I've gotten a bit better about it. A lot better, Rainbow scowled. Girl, you're just playing in front of the entire school without batting an eye. That's more than a lot better. After a few minutes, the limo pulled up in front of their old house. Fluttershy got up, hugging her father and bandmates, thanking them for the backup. Oi, toss me, kid, Scribble told her. Few years you'll class as a stars, just lots, she said with a wink. I don't think I'll be ever as good as you, Violet, Fluttershy told her. Scribble laughed. Oh, kid, you're already bad. You just don't realize it yet. I know you didn't grow up around your old man, but you could have got strings, that's for sure. Honestly, look proud of you, Screamers told her. You handled that way better than I did when I was your age, kiddo. Trust me, you're gonna be a star. Bigger than us, even. Fluttershy blushed, but didn't know what to say. They're right, you know. Discord embraced his daughter. I'm Bakuba proud of you, dear sweetie. You're going to be bigger and better than I ever was. And as a father, you don't know how proud that makes me. Guess we're going to have to make room in the house for your own platinum records, huh? Fluttershy hugged her, face completely red with embarrassment. Thanks, Dad. Okay, off you. You go off and have fun with the girls, Discord told her. The rest of us have to discuss business not related to the music industry. You know, boring stuff like stock options and compounded interest. What? Rainbow asked. What? You thought that the band was just about playing music? Freebrace said, asked Rainbow. Not even. Maybe in the beginning it is, but reality sets in. He said the band, you're not just making a band, you're starting a business. Money good bands have fallen by the wayside, just because of business arrangements, Scrooge pointed out. The Beach Boys, for example. Rainbow, however, was completely crestfallen. The thought of her favorite rock stars were business people, overwhelming her mind. I can't, but you... Rainbow, dear, Rarity nodded. I have a feeling that athletics are much the same way. What? No, it can't be! I'm afraid it is, kid, Freebase told her. Dee's chick who plays for the Seattle Reign, soccer team up there. And when she's not working on her kicks, she's focusing on her marketing and real estate portfolio. Learned a lot about the business side of the house from her. Rainbow looked as though someone had shot her dog right in front of her. My dreams are ruined! Like those uncool things had to slip into my life. Why am I cursed so? Rarity rolled her eyes. And they say I have a phenomenomic, she deadpanned. Well, you know, Rainbow, you can always do what I keep headcanon that Equestria Girls Rainbow would be into, and that would be the Air Force. What, guys? Come on! Being in a jet is awesome! And you people wonder why I love Macross. On the other side of the world, the sun rose over the horizon, ready to signal the following day. But in the elegant Japanese city of Otaru, things were going on to defy explanation. In a store filled with artisanal glass, an old man looked at the sign of the door. Normally, he would have opened his shop for the day, expecting tourists to come in and purchase some of his wares, as Otaru was famous for its handcrafted glass, but not today, not ever again. The warning he received last night made it very clear that they knew. Those bastards of the Satsuma Rengokai knew, and they were coming for her. The warning had cost his friend his life, and the police didn't care. All they said was an accident, that the old woman had been too elderly and infirm, and the driver's car had faulty brakes, and everyone was shocked and horrified. But he knew. The police would do nothing to stop them. Hell, some of them might even be on the payrolls of the Satsuma Ren no Kai. But even other Yakuza groups, like the... Oh, you are really testing my Japanese. Aizusa, Ikai, Kotaka, and the Kanto Komasatsuya Ika feared the Satsuma in its considerable might, both its conventional and its unconventional. Now they were coming after her, and there was little she could do about it. Though he had some skill in Omeyodo, he was no Abe no Seme, not even a truly trained Omoji. There was also the inevitability that the Satsuma Ren no Kai's magic was far stronger, faster, and even not that. The truth was, he was an old man, and running at declining time. He could not protect her forever. They had to leave. Tonight they would depart, head to the place where they wouldn't be suspected. Hakodate, home base of the Satsuma Rengokai. He made arrangements to let them think they were moving to the Liberade in Brazil, out of their immediate grasp. Of course, he would send forces there. Once the Rengokai wanted you under their thumb, you either acquiesced or died. At least, if they hid themselves in Hakodate, they could hide under the shadow of the beasts themselves, at least until you could contact the Chikyu no Megami for aid. And he felt power rising, even from here. She was real. He now knew it. No mere legend, but a true awesome power that even the Rengokai would bow down to. The Megami would protect her. He felt it in his bones. But the strange thing was, if his divination was correct, the Megami was American. He always expected the Megami to be Japanese, born in a place of legendary power, maybe. And the worst came too, from a European nation, originating from a found magic strength in one of those places. But he had been to America when his son had been a boy, and he knew of no place there, or Canada or Mexico, where magic power ruled over science, so it made no sense. Or, he thought it was made to all smile, maybe that was needed. Americans were loud, obnoxious, and gun-crazy. Maybe the Megami, being American, used their magic with abandon like some sort of superhero, fighting until the enemy was down like a truly fearless paladin. Despite the pining of warrior legends of his own culture's mythos, Japan had no real such spirit or Budo any longer. And maybe it would take a cowboy, or rather a cowgirl, to succeed when there was no more samurai. Maybe the Megami would be a fiery redhead, or intense violet, or maybe some other worldly platinum-haired beauty. One thing was for sure, she helped, she would be no pushover. That much she knew. Help! At that moment, Sunset was triple gaunt. On one side by Coco, on the other by Rose, and a third with Pinkie trying to pry the two off of her love, while trying not to look incredibly jealous at the same time. Given that her aunt and uncle were watching with no small amount of amusement, the Alicorn found herself at the middle of the strange tug-of-war, pleading to her friends to get out of this. Trying hard, and failing, to not laugh at her sister's predicament, Twilight said, "You got yourself into this one, sis." "How?" "Being related to just about everyone in sight," Octavia guffawed. "I mean, at this rate, we could play 6 degrees of Sunset, and the entire first degree would be nothing but people who are related to you." "Well, I don't know what's going on," Crackle admitted, "but I think Gribby needs to be in the middle of a huggle-ball." Raspberry blushed fiercely. "Crackle?" She then gasped, and hid underneath the table, causing her friend to laugh all the harder. Fluttershy went over and helped the girl out from under her table. Seeing her friends had been shocked by meeting Raspberry's counterpart, and how vastly different she was from the unicorn they knew. But he took it in stride. Eating the timorous girl back to her seats, he said, "It's okay to be afraid sometimes, you know." "Really?" Fluttershy nodded as he put her arms around Raspberry. "I used to be afraid of a lot of things, but my friends helped me stronger, and I'm still nervous a lot of times, but I worked through it." "But I'm worthless," Raspberry moaned, starting to cry again. Raspberry hugged the girl close and hummed a soft lullaby, getting her to calm down. Strangely enough, Raspberry soon fell asleep in the girl's arms. "Looks like Sunny's not going to be the only one with girlfriends at this rate," Rainbow cried. "Kinda ironic cat coming for you," AJ's Applejack snarked. "Fuck you, AJ!" Holding the girl still, Fluttershy said, "Ronnie, she's been traumatized. Trust me, I know traumatized." "Rainy?" several of the girls repeated. Rainbow blushed furiously. "I told you not to call me that anymore, Flutters," Rainbow stammered. "I'm going to file that one away for further use," Applejack said with a massive grin. "Sorry," Fluttershy said with a brief smile that indicated no, she wasn't sorry. But then the moment passed. "Seriously, she's been hurt. Do you think your sister could?" she asked Twilight without asking. It was Octavia that answered. "Sunny would have done it for me if it were possible," she said softly. "But she can't. It's not in her skill set, if you know what I mean. Plus, really, it's not my sister's business to do so." Twilight nodded. "We shouldn't encourage her to act beyond whatever it is she does already." "Yeah," Fluttershy said. "It's just sad, that's all." Plus, doing it without her permission is kind of really bending the label of villainy. A few minutes later, Venus came in and saw Fluttershy tending to her sleeping cousin. A quick explanation was given. Afterwards, the older girl profusely thanked the younger for helping out. Fluttershy, however, politely suggested that given her timidity, the chiffon-haired girl would be more than happy to assist. To which Phoenix thanked her. Finally, she offered to take the younger girls home. Once given the size of Octavia's minivan, was more than workable enough. Finally, the evening crowd started to come in, and much to both their dismay, both Rose and Pinkie had to get back to work, and instead settled for looking at sunset from afar, occasionally glaring daggers at one another. The rest of them continued on to work on homework, and talked about their day, until Sunset noted the time and suggested that she and her family get back home. The rest of them then agreed to meet later on that evening on the net, and bit by bit, they filed out Shikaku Corner Cafe for the rest of the day. Once they got home, Sanada immediately commandeered the kitchen, much to their aunt's relief. Tonight, the teen had opted to make a quick cottage pie for everyone. Afterwards, they all talked about their day, and how they thought things were going to go at the school this year. Arya showed everyone the recording of Twilight's speech, impressing everyone. And while Sunset showed what she recorded of Fluttershy's performance, Dacio teased that at this rate, Sunset was going to be left behind in terms of importance. To which Sunset said that was going to be more than enough for her. After that, the girls went to their bedroom and chatted with their friends for a bit. Finally, Dacio called the triplets together to go running for an hour, followed by some weapons practice. As for the others, Octavia began to practice her instrument, while Twilight watched, and Sunset answered several emails, 2 of which were for Shimmer. Spike, as usual, gave his mother grief about not wanting to go to bed early, to which Sunset told him that he had to behave, since with their father on travel, he had to be the big, strong guy. That seemed to work, and Spike went out to bed, much to Velvet's chagrin. Finally, she had to turn in as well, saying that she had an early morning with her staff, and asked whether Sunset would mind dropping Spike off at school along the way. Sunset didn't have a problem with it, so with that, the matron went to bed. Finally, the clock burned close to midnight, and the girls, one by one, turned in for the night, until there was just Twilight and Sunset left. The two looked at one another, smiles on their faces. "Well, today's gonna be another day, sis," Twilight told her, then went over and gave her a hug and a peck on the cheek, saying, "This last year has been amazing. I'm glad I ended up with such a wonderful sister." Sunset smiled. "I'm lucky that I have a family that means the world to me." "Well, I'm going to sleep," Twilight said. "Talk to you in the morning, sis." "What, not joining me?" Twilight smirked. "What, have Pinkie angry with me because I got to sleep with you first?" "No, thanks." Sunset Mark pouted. "I'm going to get you for that, sis." "I'll hold you to that promise," Twilight insisted with a smile. "Night." Sunset found a strange underground grotto, with clear glowing waters and strange plants. Occasionally fossils could be seen, but as for an entrance, there was nowhere to be found. "Find me." Sunset reacted to the voice, falling down a deep but narrow rabbit hole into a massive cavern, where titanic stones looked as though they had been carved into geometric shapes. For a mere human, she would have been in trouble, but "find me." For an Alicorn such as herself, she merely shifted to her true form and flew forward, looking at the intricate stonework and wondering where she was. There were paths which indicated that someone or something had walked away through once. The walkways were so worn that several of them had deteriorated, leaving a sort of jumping puzzle. In a place where there was no visible bottom and nothing but deep mist, and an ethereal red light that seemed to be radiated from everywhere and nowhere at once. There seemed to be a massive amount of magic, more than she had seen anywhere outside of Equestria, possibly enough to even rival some parts of her homeland. She flew on until she found a strange hole behind a waterfall. "Find me." She changed back to her human form, entering a small tunnel and sliding down a chute, pushed by the water. There was a danger that she could have drowned, given that she was an Alicorn, complete with an Alicorn's toughness. She persisted and came to a stop on the ground. Soaking wet, she cast a spell to dry her clothing. So she looked up to see something that amazed her. Before her was an endless expanse of smooth, polished stone, as if laid on top of one another. Despite being probably hundreds of miles down deep beneath the surface, a dim light seemed to permeate everywhere, as if a giant fluorescent light bulb had turned on. That's as the grass grew, scattered the whole of the place, and here and there where unidentifiable red flower grew, filling the room with an intoxicating, exotic scent. In the distance, a massive stone wall sat, cracked and pitted, with the ruins of a perfect circle, bisected by that ruined wall. At the base of it all, half-covered grass and flowers, looked to be a ruined temple of some kind. Shinto, she recalled, looked ancient at the same time. Find me. Had an otherworldly beauty. Sunset walked over to the doors, the faded gold leaf barely covering the rotting doors, and still somehow remained intact, despite however long this ancient ruin had lain here. When she pulled open the door. Find me. Sunset woke up with a start. She wasted no time, teleporting her room as she heard several other people get out of bed at the same time. Appearing before her bedroom door, she watched as the triplets appeared, all carrying pistols, with Dazio barking orders to check the house while she stayed to protect the family. Arya, Sanada, wordlessly complied, with Arya moving through the upstairs rooms while Sanada moved to the lower. Sunny, what just happened? Sunset tried to look at Velvet, who was terrified out of her wits. A second later, she saw the same look on Twilight and Tavia's faces. Check on Spike, she said, probably terrified right now. A second later, the Sunset's phone started ringing. She summoned it to her hand and answered it. Sunset! Rarity's voice on the other end was frantic. What was that? I don't know, I'm looking into it, Sunset told her. At the same time, she heard a notification time indicating that she had voicemail. She quickly ended her call with Rarity, only finding her friends in the know were all calling, including Shimmer. She sent texts to everyone, assuring that she was looking into it and they couldn't be safe. Sunset immediately began casting spells, magical circles around the air, as Sunset set protective wards in the houses of everyone she knew. Whether or not they knew magic, she was going to take no chances. Velvet came out of Spike's room. He's freaked out, justifiably, she explained. I told him he could sleep with me tonight. House is clear, Adazio reported, but we'll be doing guard duty tonight, just in case. Ari, you take first watch. Change into your gear and use fragable rounds. Wake Sunny in 2 hours. I'll take the final shift. Roger that, Arya said in her businesslike tone. She ran over to her bedroom. Sunny, what the hell was that? Twilight said, worrying creeping under her voice. I don't know, Sunset admitted. But whatever it was, it decided it was going to knock on our metaphorical door in the worst way possible. Sunset called to her power to her hand, and her eyes glowed. And if it means harm, it's going to find out. And camera pull out. While Sunset stands in a dramatic badass pose, I knock right back. And thus ends this 5-book series. I'm only sorry that the writer who did a damn good job died before we could get to this point. And Shizuka, wherever you are, I hope you really, really enjoyed all this. And all the beats and twists and turns. And I hope you folks did. Because I sure as hell did! My God. This was fantastic. I know this doesn't rank in the views like some of the other fics. I know this doesn't come with many comments. Like some of you guys just listen and just let it go by. I get it. It's not, haha, I'm making fun of bad fanfic. Or, how sweet, love. Or a adaptation of a fic that's already has an audio play out there. And thus is more popular than mine, but for some odd reason I got a chance to do it. Or any of those other things. I know when I do a fic I love or think it's really great, I don't always get into views, but this was important. This was really good. So, as always, let's start off with the bad. There's a part that I'm conflicted about. And that would be Flash. Which also ties into the part I'm conflicted about here. This is the sex. Unlike some puritanical people out there, or even some people on Reddit, I know of a little secret. Come a little closer. Teenagers have sex! I know it's a shocker to a lot of you, but teenagers have premarital sex. It happens. We try to teach them differently, but it happens. Shoot, I could tell you stories about band class if you want me to. Woo! Hell, I could tell you some stories I heard back at school. Wow. So, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have needed it. But there was just some parts where it felt like it was getting this close to wanting to be a hentai. Really, with some of the nudity. I bet this was actually rated. This would be a definite hard R. Which is not a problem in itself, but sometimes it could be distracting if you're not paying attention. Once again, turns back to the Flash bit. I know that Flash has had a bad rep out there. I know it's mainly because Megan wanted to do a silly bit of Twilight crashing into a Flash guy, into a handsome boy, and do the parody and do the jokes, and yada yada. But unfortunately, I want you folks to remember, Megan never worked on anything with continuity before. She worked on Class of 3000, and that was it. That didn't have any continuity in it, and well, you saw where that wound up. So she had no idea that the joke would go this far with the bronies who, really don't want to see a strong girl going, tee guy. I mean, shoot. Even I was worried that Twilight was going to lose all personality around this guy, and Flash would be big, brave hero. I think you've seen enough of these stories why I get nervous at boy and girl series. Where guy ruins story, ruins fic, so that way he could be the big, brave hero, and the girls could be, wee, help me. Thank you, Karine. I didn't realize I needed you for that backup. Yeah, problem. It would be like seeing Shampoo actually be weak and not pretending to be a weak coward just so Rama could save her. Although I doubt that Rama could believe that. But I don't see that as a reason to be that hateful when he was just a joke character. Background fodder. About as important as a random-ass boyfriend in which basically not really that important. Especially not enough to try to turn him into a rapist. Or turn pure evil. But the thing is, with the mindset that this was set in, I don't know whether or not taking this away would lower the standards of the fic or raise it. The same with the sex. Would it really work if we took away something like that from the story? Because it is connected. And it does make it a darker story. And it does add to the darker feel. My other complaint, Applejack, Rary, and Rainbow Dash sadly got jack shit to do in this story. I kind of blame down Raspberry Barrel taking away part of the plot, but most of their story was nothing. I mean, Applejack got a side story, but that was it. Not in the main story. She barely got any characterization. They barely got any character development. They were just there to say, "Ew," and that was it. I mean, in the first story, sure, they got a couple of cool scenes, but after that, they were just background fodder. I guess the rest of the story just wanted to focus on the characterization so much that it just kind of left it on the wayside. But, other than that, this was all good. I love taking the idea of taking the villains and turning them into rock stars. Because what's more chaotic than a rock star? Here's to you, Ozzy. I love that idea. It's really creative, and I love its implementation. It adds a little something to it and makes it kind of fun. It makes the world feel lived in. Speaking of things that make sense, I'm also, thank God, for what this fic did with Shining and Cadence. I do enjoy the third movie, I really do. But there's one thing I have to complain about, is making Shining armor just a graduate who just stood there in the background and went, "Hi." Make him a police officer, or guard captain, somebody in the military. Something! This fic got it right. Make him a police officer. That's the equivalent of a royal guard. But nope, gotta connect him to that crystal prep somehow. Oh, and Cadence barely gets to do anything as well. But here, at least she has a character. At least she's doing something. I also love the implementation of the families. And this was way more creative on how it handles Spike over canon. I mean, I get it. Megan wanted to do a Wizard of Oz reference and a Wizard of Oz joke. And isolated, that's perfectly fine. But outside of that, Spike should have been a little boy. End of story. He should have been a little brother or something rather than a dog. But that's neither here nor there. Speaking of making appropriate roles, maybe that's what the fic should have done if they wanted to give Rainbow Dash a little bit of a character arc. Have her become disillusioned with sports and decide, I want to go into the Air Force. I want to become a cool Air Force pilot. And fly around at high speeds and fly around faster than air. You know, something like that. That would be cool. Then again, I love Macross. I also liked how it made sure that the relationships were kept and found new ones to create, like turning Angel Buddy into Fluttershy's little brother. That was actually kind of cute and really creative. And I love Fluttershy's arc with her father, Discord. That was wonderfully done. I also love Sunset's character, going from being shunned to being this really good badass. And even giving a good timeline switch where almost everybody had a happy ending. But even then, it showed consequences. And I loved how it kept its pace throughout every bit. The bad guys were wonderfully done, making me want to see them taken down. In a way, everything about this was wonderfully executed. And I hope all the fans who enjoyed reading this book series enjoyed this live read. Next time, I think I'll have a little fun elsewhere in Equestria. I don't want to set the world on fire.